against a foreign invader.
The best thing is to get rid of them, get a big stick and hit him.
One of the most destructive creatures and the most disgusting creatures.
It's estimated there are now 200 million cane toads in Australia.
They also are probably the biggest single threat to our native frog species.
Nothing, he says, can survive the toad's poison.
This documentary looks at the sustainability issues caused by cane toads and the effect they have on Australia's native flora and fauna. The damage from a cane toad to Australia's ecosystem is exponential due to the many factors such as lack of cane toad predators, the toxicity of their poisons, Australia having ideal living conditions, and the fast rate of their reproduction.
You get lots of cane toads into an area, they not only kill off those big predators, but they also deplete the food supply for everything else that's there. So animals that aren't directly impacted by cane toads can be indirectly by cane toads through food competition.
For some of the big predator species it's devastating. The toads have a poison that's different from the chemical defences of native frogs, and in some of these areas we get up to 90% mortality of large predators. Some of the crocodiles, some of the large lizards, some of the marsupials. So there's a devastating impact on these large predators when the toads come through.
When I'm driving a car, I have no hesitation of running over them whatsoever.
I couldn't do without them. They're friends.
The negative attitude towards cane toads is supported by facts and statistical evidence. In this map of Australia, we can see the distribution of cane toads from 1935 to 2004 and the predicted distribution. Today, cane toads move at a west rate of 60 kilometres per year since crossing the Queensland border in the early 1980s, and it's the rate of dispersal and expansion of them since 1935 that has Australians so concerned. However, their expansion is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the issues they present to Australia and its wildlife. The positive opinions regarding cane toads originated from their initial introduction to Australia when they were used to kill the cane beetles and assisted farmers in sugarcane production. However, due to their increased numbers and damage, the positive outlook has become a minority. This graph shows a list of Australian pest species by the ABC. Cane toads make the second vertebrate pest species on the list due to both their direct and indirect impacts on Australian wildlife. This graph shows just how devastating cane toads are to Australia's native flora and fauna. 9 native mammal species, many frog-eating snakes, and large lizards are known to die after ingesting or mouthing cane toads. The few animals that are not directly affected by the poison are still affected by the cane toad's epidemic through competition of food and habitat. Cane toads have added more weight to the already threatened species and single-handedly, or rather single-webbed toe, brought upon the decline of other species that before the introduction of these toads were plentiful and fine. This graph shows a list of invasive pest species that require the most need for control in Australia. As you can see, the issues caused by cane toads are so critical that cane toads are made number 3 on this list. In America, cane toad numbers are kept at bay by their natural predators who either are not affected by the poison or predators who have learned to eat only certain parts, such as the tongue and intestines, which are not as potent. Through this documentary, we have been able to see the overwhelming evidence of what cane toads have done to Australia's ecosystem. cane toads have been found to be the sole cause of some Australia's native species decline, as well as the culprits of the degeneration of whole ecosystems and all the animals within. The evidence against cane toads is too confronting to ignore, and with the evidence coming from Australian government, community groups and scientific studies, the opinion that cane toads are causing a sustainable issue is supported. The minority that enjoy cane toads has been found to be based on personal opinion with no statistical or relevant evidence. This graph shows the successful eradication of cane toads in Port Macquarie, with the y-axis showing the number of cane toads caught, the x-axis showing the year toads were caught, and the plot line showing the community involvement. However, despite the success of complete eradication of cane toads in Port Macquarie, complete eradication of cane toads is not the aim of the Australian government. This is due to it being considered impossible due to their breeding rates, quick adaptation to different habitats and conditions, and the rate in which they are spreading. Rather, the aim is to reduce the spread of cane toads to other areas they have not yet reached. But as Australians, we try to make the best of what we have, so we've managed to find a few uses for them, such as
Come on, Frog, get me off my face. Come here. Lick him out.
Cane toads. We're caned. You look caned. If you had like a donkey and a cat confrontation, which one would rip it the worst?
Cat donkey. Fucking off my bean.
Phil, stand back a bit.
Oh,
He got munted.